how to simplify your life and live minimally. It sounds scary and perfect all at the same time, right? You know, I want to talk to you if you are someone that feels totally overwhelmed with your life or your business when you take a step back and you're evaluating it. You know, maybe you're struggling right now with something, as we all do at times, and you're just really thinking about, you know, where am I right now? How did I get here? And how can I make it so that my life is more enjoyable while still being able to do the things that I love and the things that matter, and spend time with the people that matter? And it's kind of difficult, right? We find ourselves pulled in 1,000 different directions, trying to be the perfect housewife or the perfect husband, and to be the perfect parent, and to raise a family and balance a job and go on Pinterest and make all these cute little crafts, right? It's a struggle to keep up with life. And there's so much pressure on us to be perfect, to have it all together, and to just live a life of success that society thinks we should have. But I'll tell you, it's not all it's cracked up to be. You need to be in control of your life. You need to be happy, and you need to live the life that you deserve and the life that God intended for you. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Erin Cook, and I'm the creator of Find Your Free Time. I help busy people just like you simplify and systematize their lives and their business practices so they can find more joy and freedom in their everyday life. And that's what I think you need, because you're here. And you're smart, because there's other people out there struggling that aren't taking the steps to improve their life. So I congratulate you, and I hope you'll stay tuned for this video. Check it out. All right, so I talked a little bit about simplifying, and that can sound scary to some people, right? I mean, simplification, sometimes you equate that with what you see as far as minimalism out there. And minimalists, boy, they live off the land, right? They live in this tiny house, they get rid of all the things that they love, and they have nothing left, and it sounds horrible, actually, to some people. And it sounded scary to me too, but it's not like that. You see, when my daughter passed away, my husband and I were forced to reevaluate our lives. And in that tragedy, it actually turned out to be something beautiful in the end, as beautiful as it could be. And that was, we were given back the gift of freedom and joy in our lives. Because before, we were so focused on being successful because, you know, the world told us we had to have fancy cars, a nice house to be successful. My kid had to be, you know, singing her ABCs before she was 2, like, and potty trained. You know, that's what people today think that success is, and think that that's what our worth is based upon, but it's not. When we were forced to look at our life, we figured out, you know, that's not what matters in life at all. We've been on the wrong track this whole time. And maybe you're not to that extreme point, but maybe you've taken a glance around and said, how'd I get here? You know, I'm not really happy. I should be grateful for everything I have, but I'm not really happy, and I don't know why that is. Chances are you're just overloaded. You're bombarded with media telling you what to do, what to buy, what to wear, you know, who you should be friends with, where you should be hanging out, what coffee to drink. You know, we have all these influences, and it's time to say enough is enough and start living the life you dream of, and live the life that you deserve and the life that God intended you to live. And the only way we can do that is to simplify the way we're living. Now, that doesn't mean, like I said before, to go out and live off the land, live in a tiny house, get rid of everything you love, deprive yourself of the things you enjoy. That's not it at all. It's actually the exact opposite, right? If we think about simplification, it simply means creating your own definition of success and getting rid of the things that are extras, that you don't need, that you don't enjoy, that you don't have to do, that you don't have to spend your money on. So it can free up time, it can free up energy to focus on what it is you want to do with your life. That sounds a lot better when you put it that way, doesn't it? And that's all simplification is, and that's why I want to help you today by sharing what I did while I was going through the simplification process. I want to share that with you because I want you to know that life doesn't have to be the way it is right now if you're not happy. And chances are we could all use a little improvement. And simplification just means cutting out the things that we don't need to do or have around us to make our life more enjoyable. So let's get to it. First part, which is your mindset. Okay, when you are thinking and evaluating and reevaluating where you are in life and where you want to be, we have to change our mindset first before we go decluttering and throwing out, you know, all the excess and stop doing activities that we don't need to do. We have to get our mindset right first, because that's going to set us up for success when we're trying to do a simplification system for our lives, a simplification overhaul. So your mindset is simply defining what it is that simplicity means to you. Not what it means to me, not what it means to anybody else, but finding your own definition of a simple life. Okay? It usually falls into these 3 criteria. So everything from here on out, if you're choosing to lead a simpler life with more fun and joy and freedom, you're going to evaluate everything you do and buy and surround yourself with these 3 criteria for your mindset shift, okay? Now that mindset shift sounds scary, but all it is a learning process and a discovery process for you. So don't let it scare you. It's just something that you can define for yourself so that you know what path is best for you and your family. So these 3 criteria are what you're going to think of. You're going to surround yourself with things and people that you need, things that you use, and things and people that you love. It's that simple. Things you need, things you use, and things you love, or people that fall into those categories, or activities. Anything that comes into your life is going to be evaluated on that criteria. So obviously people and activities aren't going to be in the use category, but for that example, if you're having trouble with that or struggling with what that means, is something that you might use but don't need would be like a blender. If you have a smoothie every single day and you need that blender to make that, you don't really need it to live, but you need it to do whatever it is that makes you happy. Okay, so that's what I mean by things that you use. Those are the 3 criteria really that you have to define for yourself as far as whether you're deciding to keep those things or those people or those activities in your life or to get rid of them when you're simplifying your life. Okay, so it's that easy. Once we get our mind shift set and we know what our priorities are and the path that we want to be on, it's so much easier to do the other things, to get organized, to declutter and all that. So that's step number 1 is mindset. And then we're going to move on to the other 2 things. So at the top is the mindset shift, and then below we're going to have our environment and then our activities. Okay, so environment is going to be anything that we surround ourselves with, whether it's people or things, and activities, the things that we do each day. All right, so let's look at our environment. Now, if you own a business, this can work for your business. If you are a stay-at-home mom, this is your home environment. This is everybody's home environment as well. But this can also apply to any place that you spend a lot of time, whether it's at your workplace, your home office, wherever it is. You're going to want to evaluate that environment because we can control to a certain extent our environment, especially if you are the caregiver in your home and you manage the household with either finances or you're the grocery shop person, the bill payer, whatever it is. You can control your environment to a certain extent. Okay, so let's talk about environment. When we're talking about environment, we kind of get overwhelmed. We're like, okay, got our mindset. We know we want to start simplifying and what's important to us, but now what? What do we do? Like, we don't know where the next step is. So this is what I suggest. We want to start at home. Then we're going to move to our businesses and then the activities portion, okay? So at home, we need to think about this. We need to think of how are we going to maintain our house right now today before we start working through the process of pitching things and simplifying our object. What can we do today? And that is going to prepare us for those other steps, but we need to know how to maintain it. And that is that right now, everything stops. What we bring into the house has to be evaluated from now on, and that way we're not like getting more stuff that we have to sort through later on. So everything stops right now. Whatever's in the house is in the house. The activities, we're not taking anything else on. Business, we're not going to take anything else on as far as like big projects that aren't related to business. So maybe you're thinking about hiring somebody or expanding your business. That's going to be on hold for right now. And then by expand, I don't mean growing, but like building expansion or something really big that's not related to actually what you have to do in your everyday tasks. So you're going to stop and you're going to think, okay, tomorrow I have to go grocery shopping, let's say. I don't want to bring anything into the house that I don't need. So what do you need to do? You need to make a list. You need to figure out maybe a meal plan. You need to do something to make sure that everything coming into the house from now on is necessary or has a purpose. Okay, we all know food has a purpose, but you have to make sure that it's fulfilling that ultimate goal, your mindset of where you want to be. Do you want to be a healthier family? So when you go to the grocery store tomorrow, you're not going to buy those chips or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Something like that. So it's a mindset shift but it deals with whatever you're bringing into the home for now, or your environment. So you're also going to learn what I recommend, you've heard me say it a billion times, is the 1 in, 1 out rule. So when you're bringing something in, say somebody gives you a gift, or you see this really cool outfit on clearance and you've always wanted it and you want to bring it home, when you bring the item into your home, something else has to leave, okay? Or maybe your child has a birthday and gets toys. You're gonna have to take whatever, say they get, 10 gifts from grandma. Sounds like my mom. You're gonna have to take 10 toys and put them aside or donate them or something, but 1 thing in, 1 thing out. That is really how you're going to maintain this whole system once you get it all figured out, but you need to start practicing it now before you start getting more stuff coming in. Does that make sense? So that's the first part of your home environment. So after you've figured out how to maintain that and you're practicing that and you're getting good, you're going to start the decluttering process. Now, I could do a whole separate video on decluttering. If you need help with that, go to thedeclutterchallenge.com. That's my 10-day declutter challenge. You can go participate in that. It's very accessible, very short, 10-minute videos sent to you for 10 days with a task to help you declutter your home and your life. So again, that's thedeclutterchallenge.com if you need help decluttering. But you're gonna wanna start slowly with that. But you can't do that until your mindset is right. So you need to figure out what you wanna keep as far as, do you remember what the mindset is? What you need, what you use, and what you love. That's it, that's what you keep. And then you toss everything else, either donate, recycle, throw away, whatever. And then the last part, because, I've got stories about this, but the last part is organization. I encourage you not to organize anything until you've decluttered, because I was the person who was a perpetual organizer. I love to organize. So guess what? I had so much stinking stuff. I got to organize all the time because it was a friggin' mess, excuse my language, whenever I did something. So I used to scrapbook. I had a scrapbooking room filled with stuff for scrapbooking, okay? I haven't scrapbooked in like 6 years now. My son's 6 and I stopped before he was born. But I had a whole room dedicated to that. I was a perpetual organizer and I loved it, and that actually fed that habit, which wasn't really good for me. So I had to figure out, do I use it? No, I don't use it anymore. Do I love it? Yeah, but not so much. Like, it was fun, but it's not something I choose to do anymore, obviously, because I haven't done it since 6 years ago. So those are things you have to ask yourself when you're decluttering. Again, I could do a whole video on that, but that would be your next step in organizing. So we don't want to be perpetual organizers. If you find yourself reorganizing every couple weeks the same spot, guess what? You got too much stuff, okay? Everything should have a place. You should know where everything goes. And if not, then you should probably think about pitching some stuff, okay? So that is our work and home environment. So you can do the same thing at work. If you've got a drawer full of paper clips and you've used maybe 5 paper clips this last month, think about pitching them. I mean, it's simple stuff like that, but our work desk gets very cluttered, right? Or if we have all these old credit card statements, say you've got statements from like 5 years ago. Well, they're all online, people. And by now you probably have caught the mistakes if somebody has charged on your card, or you're probably not even gonna look because you've had them for 5 years and they're still sitting in your drawer. Stuff like that you need to just go through and pitch if you don't need it. So that's your work and home environment. So then we have to move to our activities, right? Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, chances are you're doing a lot. If you have kids, I know you're doing a lot because there's a lot required. If your kids are in sports, now they play 7 days a week. What's up with that? When I was in school, we didn't have anything on the weekends. We might have had to cheer at a football game during the day on a Saturday just so that we had lights, for our games. But it blows my mind what kids have to do nowadays. So you're probably one of those people, if you're watching this, that has to deal with that. So we have to think about our activities. And the first thing we have to do when we sit down and we think about our time management and our schedule, when we want to spend more time with the people we love, we have to go through and make a priority list or a priority statement, which is simply what's important to you as far as what you want to spend your time doing. When my daughter was 18 months old, I was talking about how, there's pressure to have the perfect child, be the perfect parent. She was in ballet, tap, and gymnastics at 18 months old. 18 freaking months old. And that's what I was doing to her. She could sign the alphabet by the time she was 2. She was potty trained by the time she was 2. I was breaking my back creating this perfect little girl, having her in all of these things. And she really is the perfect little girl for me because she's my daughter. I don't have to prove that to the world. But that's what I was trying to do. And it made me realize I was spending so much time having her do this stuff that I wasn't spending time with her. She was doing a bunch of stuff, but it wasn't with me, if that makes sense. I was working. I was trying to get more money so I could buy more stuff for the house, so I could show off my fancy cars, and it was just a cycle. So sometimes we do that, right? And I'm not accusing people of having that mindset when they're doing stuff, but we're busy and there's pressure to be the perfect parent. And I want you to know that it's okay if your kid's in just one thing. You know how I know that? Because my kids are in just one thing. They get to do one thing each season. Or if they're in dance or something, they get to do that for the whole year. And that's it. I have 4 kids. Can you imagine if every one of them did every single thing they wanted to do? Not only would it drive me crazy, but I wouldn't have time to sit down and the kids wouldn't have time to relax. We need to be a family. And so my kids, they do one thing. So I encourage you to sit down with your family because that's what matters, right? You're here because I know you care about your family. You need to sit down with them and say, look, family, trying more time together. We're trying to simplify whatever it is that your goal is. You have to sit down with them and ask them, what's your priority? What would you like mommy and daddy to do more of with you? What do you think we spend too much time doing? And I guarantee you they're probably gonna say, you're on your phone a lot. I know my kids would. They don't understand that a lot of it is business, but sometimes it's just scrolling through Facebook, wasting time. Okay, so sit down and say, look, here's our family. This is where we want to be. This is what's important to us. And then you're going to do step 2 of that activities evaluation. And you're going to actually sit down and look at your schedules. And you're going to evaluate, where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your time during the week? Is it, doing something that matters to your priority list? Maybe you volunteer doing something that isn't really life-changing, but somebody needed your help and you said yes because you didn't want them to be mad at you, but it's not a commitment that really is going to make a difference in your life. Maybe it's not really an important commitment that you need to keep. You need to weigh that against your priority list or your priority statement that you made with your family and see if that, should stay on the list or not. You have to evaluate your whole entire schedule. And this sounds overwhelming, and I'm gonna help you do this in a minute. I'm gonna give you a free tool to do that with, but that would be your next step. And then the last step is very difficult for many people. That is learning how to say no to new activities that don't fit that priority list. Oh, isn't that hard? We want to be people pleasers. I know you're here because you take on too much stuff, because you are a people pleaser, most likely. You want people to be happy, you care about them, you want to help them. So by saying no, you feel guilty. But we need to learn how to say no to the things that really are gonna not benefit us as far as our family priorities and our goals and our happiness. And it's not to say that we can't help people, we can't step out of our comfort zone, we can't sacrifice. We can do those things, but when you make a commitment, you need to, especially a long commitment, you need to really evaluate whether or not that fits into your family's priority statement or your priority list of things that are important to you. So this mindset shift, you can see, isn't really about sacrificing everything that you love. It's more about being able to enjoy the things that you love and that you work hard for. And think about it this way. If you have a business, or even if you just, you have a job, you're working so hard to create an income to support whatever your lifestyle is like right now. Can you imagine what you would have to do as far as when you cut down all that excess spending on whatever it is you're doing? And I don't know what that is for you, but for me it was my house and my car. I got rid of my cars shortly after Ella died, and we just sold our dream house and we're downsizing because I don't want to work as hard. And we're selling one of our 3 businesses, and it's actually the most lucrative one right now, but I don't need that income anymore. So guess what? I don't need to work all those hours. So if I can do it, I know you can do it. Okay, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I don't want it to scare you because it's all about bringing you joy and happiness. That's what I want for you. So if the time management aspect sounds a little confusing or a little overwhelming, and you're like, Erin, all this sounds great, but I don't know where to even start because I don't have time to simplify my life. I'm too busy. I've heard that before, and it makes total sense. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to findyourfreetime.com. That's my free tool, my free PDF sheet, a training video series to go along with it. It's very short, like 20 minutes or so, to teach you how to prioritize your daily activity list, how to populate it into your phone so that it automatically generates what you need to do each day. It takes 5 minutes of maintenance a day, just 5 minutes to get your whole schedule under control. And I'm not talking about cutting everything out. This is actually finding time to do what you need to do while finishing your must-do list every day. Okay, and it's not this big trick, but this is just a system that I use, my exact system for getting everything done. 4 kids, 3 businesses, find your free time system, and it works for me. And I want it to work for you, and it's very easy to do. It's 5 easy steps in a smartphone. That's all you need. So go to findyourfreetime.com, and that's going to help you master the schedule simplicity aspect of this, okay? But don't forget your mindset, and don't forget your environment. And once you do that, you're gonna find that life is so much more enjoyable. So again, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and subscribe right here to my YouTube channel. And this is where I'm gonna do weekly trainings. I'm gonna update you on the newest ways to simplify your life, to bring you happiness, joy, freedom, and also to just pass along some love, because man, God knows we need it nowadays, and I love the people that are on my YouTube channel, and I try to take care of you in the best way possible. So if you have an idea for a video, or you have a comment, maybe you hated the video, go ahead and stick anything in the comment section and give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell me what you think. And if you have an idea for a training that you'd like to see, put that in the comments too. I would love to get your ideas to see how I can help you better. So thank you for joining me. Go to findyourfreetime.com, and I will see you on the other side. God bless. I love to organize. So guess what? I had so much stinking stuff. I got to organize all the time because it was a friggin' mess. Excuse my language.